Welcome back to the Synergistic Edge, where high performers win everywhere. I'm your host, Alvey Thompson. And in this episode, I want to talk about the cost that leaders face if they're unhealthy. And when I say that there's a cost to this, it's understanding that when you are a leader, people are depending on you in every single room that you walk into. Whether this is a room at work or this is a room at home, the people around you are always impacted by your level of health. When you're healthy, when you're vibrant, when you're feeling great, when you're confident, everyone feels that. And on the other side of the spectrum, when you're not feeling well, when you're unhealthy, when you're tired, where your presence isn't there, people are feeling that too. The overall point that I want to make in this episode is that you can't lead powerfully if your body and your mind are depleted. And that's the reason why it's so important to focus on filling your cup each and every day to ensure that your physical body and your mental state is sharp so that you can positively impact all the people around you at work and at home. So in this moment, I want you to reflect. How would you describe your current state of health? Health is one of these words that can have a lot of definitions. The most common Western definition of health is literally just being free of disease. But what I've found working with so many high performers and different types of people is that it's not about just being free of disease. Health is actually about feeling great physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's being sound in body, mind, and spirit. And that's the difference. Instead of thinking about your health as just lacking disease, I want you to think about your health in terms of where's your energy levels at day to day? How strong does your body feel? How confident are you in the way that you look, in the way that you show up? Overall, where do you currently look at your state of health? When's the last time you felt very alive? When's the last time you woke up every day feeling energetic? Or even if you do wake up tired, you feel your energy pick up rather quickly after that without needing a bunch of coffee, caffeine, sugary snacks, maybe a Zyn, some type of nicotine. Think about these things. When was the last time that you were able to be singularly focused and be able to focus on the task or the person that's in front of you versus having a lot of brain fog, having your mind be scattered, constantly thinking about the things that are all around you as opposed to the thing that's right in front of you in that moment? When's the last time you felt really strong in your body? When's the last time you walked around and you didn't really experience that much pain? That is where you want to get to. That is what I help my clients get to where their norm is closer to feeling really good physically and mentally. And don't get me wrong, it's not about never feeling bad. It's not about never having an off day. It's not about never being sore, but it's making sure that that isn't the norm. Because for so many people before these high performers come and work with me, that's what their everyday experience is. It's a lot of brain fog. It's a lot of being scatter-minded. It's a lot of physical aches and pains. It's a lot of just being so tired that they can't even think about going to the gym to work out. They can't even think about creating a training program that fits their actual life, not to mention taking time to cook real food or anything like that. So in this moment, where are you from a health standpoint? I bring all of these questions up because there's a direct connection between your health and your leadership. And I'm talking about leadership at work and leadership at home. The first one is how your physical energy impacts your leadership presence. Think about that. When you are feeling tired and irritated, how are you showing up for other people? Do you find yourself being more annoyed, less patient, ready to rip someone's head off? I understand that that can be the case. But what about when you wake up and you feel energized? When you did get a good night of sleep? When you did take some time to move your body? When you do have that post-exercise feeling? How's your interactions with people then? What you probably notice is that they're night and day in their differences. And again, as a leader, people require so much of you. Not only do they need your performance, but they want your attention. They need your presence. They look at you for confidence so that they can be confident in themselves. Yet when you don't have the physical capacity, where you don't have that physical energy, where you're constantly running on zero, it is really hard to be present and be focused with the people who you're working with. And quite frankly, your presence is felt before you say a word. When you walk into a room, most people have a great understanding of where you're at in that moment. They can tell if you are energized, if you are bringing a good energy to the room versus if you are tired, you looked extra stressed. That same level of stress is going to be put on them as well. So you want to understand your physical energy completely dictates how other people feel you. How your mental clarity impacts your decision making. When you have brain fog, you're not going to make as sound of decisions. When you're not managing your stress, you're not going to make the right decisions. When you're not getting good sleep, you're not going to make the same quality decisions. So understand, your mind can't operate at a high level if your body is operating at a low level. And again, this is why I call it the synergistic edge, because these things work together. Your physical state is going to impact your mental state, and your mental state is going to impact your physical state. So when you have ways to work on both, whether that's through getting better sleep, moving your body around, hydrating, eating real food, all of that's going to positively impact the way you make decisions and the way that you show up for people, because you have the physical energy and the mental clarity to do it in a positive way. The third dimension is how your emotional capacity dictates your relational leadership. When I talk about emotions, emotions are energy in motion. Emotions are the feelings we feel inside of our body based off of the mental thoughts that we're having. So if you ever felt butterflies in your stomach, that's the emotional feeling of being nervous. If you ever felt your throat tightening up when there was something that you wanted to say but you were afraid to say it, that's the emotions that you're feeling stuck in your throat. When you feel your face getting red and fiery, that's the emotions you're feeling of being angry or frustrated. So I want you to realize, depending on where your emotional capacity is, meaning how you are able to work with your own emotions based off of the things that are going inside of your mind, but also around in your physical environment, that's going to dictate how well you can relate to others. And when you're a leader, you are in the relationship business. You're in relation to your coworkers. You are in relation to your employees. You are in relation to your clients, not to mention your relationships at home. So by being able to build up your emotional capacity, by having ways to properly manage stress, by having ways of keeping a proper perspective on things that are going on in life, by being able to focus and put energy and attention and action into the things that you can control versus getting super caught up in the things you have zero control over, all of that's going to dictate where your emotional capacity is and ultimately how well you're relating to others and they're going to be relating to you. And here's the thing, if your stress hormones are all jacked up because of what's going on mentally, what's going on emotionally, and even how you're eating, sleeping, all of that, that's going to completely dictate how you show up for others. If your cortisol's too high, you're going to be stressed, you're going to have a short fuse. This is the exact reason why your presence might be inconsistent. You might be able to show up in a way where people feel like they can approach you, ask you questions, have confidence in you. And then in the next day, they might feel like they can't approach you because they're afraid that they're going to get cussed out or that they're going to get reprimanded in some way. And again, oftentimes this is happening from a lack of emotional capacity. But the good news is this is something you can absolutely build up. So when I talk about how these things work synergistically, this is what I want you to realize. Your emotional bandwidth is going to shrink when your physical bandwidth is empty. So again, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not prioritizing rest and recovery, if you're not moving your body, if you're not drinking enough water, if you're not eating enough good food and you're constantly eating a bunch of fast food, overindulging in caffeine and Zins and things like that, all of it's going to bring your physical capacity down, which is going to show up in having less emotional bandwidth as well. So remember, all these things are connected. All of them are synergistic. And finally, the fourth dimension that I want to talk about is how your identity determines your influence. Here's the thing. So many of us as high performers, as leaders, we're really big in confidence. We understand that our confidence has a huge impact on how we feel about ourselves. And as a result, it has a huge impact on how we interact with others. Literally 100% of the people that I've worked with have something that they're working on as it pertains to their confidence. If they feel like they're too fat, it affects their confidence. If they feel like they're too skinny, it affects their confidence. If they feel like they're not doing enough, it affects their confidence. So here's the thing. When you don't respect your health, you end up losing trust in yourself. Your self-trust goes down. And it's hard to believe that you can change or that you can grow from it if you're constantly not keeping your word to yourself. And here's the thing, you probably keep your word to yourself very well when it pertains to your business, but when it pertains to your health, you're not keeping your word. And I know this simply from conversations, and I know this from my own life. It's easy to put our health to the side and focus on career and business first. And oftentimes it's because our identity is rooted into our career. If you're identifying as a lawyer, if you identify as an executive, if you identify as an entrepreneur, if that's where your identity lies, then your actions are typically going to follow that. Meaning, if there's something you need to do for work, you're going to do it, and you have no problem sacrificing your health in the process. But here lies the problem. If at the same time you keep promising to yourself that you are going to work on your health, that you are going to eat better, that you are going to train, that you are going to get more sleep, but you keep letting yourself down, that confidence falls. And when that confidence falls, people around you feel it. Leadership is identity driven. So if you stop leading yourself, especially when it comes to your health, it's going to be that much more difficult to truly lead others in a powerful way. So now I'm sure you understand how this shows up at work, but something that I think is so important to know, and I'm sure you know this deep down, being unhealthy costs you so much at home as well. Your family also pays when you're not the healthiest version of yourself. If you're the person that comes home and you're so tired because you gave everything that you have to your career, to the people that count on you at work, to your clients, by the time you come home, you have no energy left. But guess what? Life doesn't stop when you get home. Your wife or your husband requires things from you. Your kids require love and attention from you. But what happens is they end up getting your scraps, not because you worked so hard at work, but because at the end of the workday, you had no energy left to give them. You didn't have the physical, mental, emotional capacity, the bandwidth to be able to give them all the things that they require by the time you got home. And this is common. I see this all the time. And what I tell my clients, and the first thing we work on is, it's not about not working as hard at work. Again, we're not trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. You get to stay being a high performer at work. But what's so important is that we're building your capacity by having great health habits so that by the time you get home after a 10, 12, 16-hour day, when you are with your family, you can still give them 1, 2, 3 very strong, present, energetic hours to be there with them. Because I get it, as a high performer, you're doing all these things for work because you want to provide for your family. You want to make sure that they have all the things and that you all can have all the experiences and go to all the places. And while all those things are extremely beautiful and very important, let's not lose the fact that our family needs us each and every day from a mental, emotional standpoint as well. The physical side is obvious. You got young kids. I got a 1-year-old right now. I stay healthy because I want to be able to run around with him for all his years coming up. And then I want to be able to run around with my grandkids, God willing, that I have some. So for you, the physical side, yes, you want to be able to be there and run around for the kids. But even if you don't have the physical energy for that, can you have enough mental, emotional capacity to be present with them? To when they're talking to you, you can talk back and be engaged. When they're talking to you, you're not thinking about work, or you're not thinking about decompressing on your phone, or you're not thinking about grabbing a bourbon so that you can sit back and decompress that way. You get to have enough energy so that you can be there for your family, because at the end of the day, they are part of your team. They are the biggest parts of your team, I would argue. So I want you to remember this. Leaders come home as stressed fathers and mothers. And if that's the case, your family is not getting the real you. They're only getting the leftovers. So if we can increase your capacity, we're going to increase your patience. We're going to increase the amount of love that you're showing. We're going to increase your presence, and ultimately, we're going to increase your relational ability. Again, this is about being able to be the high performer who wins everywhere, which means that you're winning at work and you're winning at home, and you're not sacrificing one in order to help the other. You're able to have both. So finally, I want to close out with the identity shift. Again, the way you see yourself and who you are becoming in this process is what matters the most in all of this. Because in order to do different things, you get to be a different person. You get to be that evolved version of yourself, that best version of yourself. So the first thing I want you to realize, as it pertains to your health, this is much bigger than just your aesthetics. Yes, I want you to look good. Yes, I know you want you to look good. But understand that looking good is simply a byproduct of all the other things going right. It requires eating well. It requires sleeping well. It requires properly managing stress. When you do all of those things consistently, you are naturally going to lose fat and you're going to put on muscle and ultimately you're going to be lean. It's just a fact of the matter. But if you're not eating well, if you're not sleeping well, if you're not recovering properly, if you're eating a bunch of fast food, a bunch of fried foods, a bunch of enriched white flours, sugary stuff, all of that, and you're not getting sleep and you're not managing stress, well, guess what? You're not going to look good. You're not going to feel good. The great philosopher Deion Sanders once said, when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you play good. And when you play good, they pay good. Meaning, the way you look, the way you feel, the way you perform, and all of the monetary gains that come from that are all interconnected. And your overall health is going to be the key to that. So are you willing to become the executive, the lawyer, the business owner, the leader that's willing to build a body and a mind that your life can rely on? If you are willing to embody that your health is your secret weapon for better performance at work and a better life at home, that's going to allow you to take the actions to be healthier. Because at the end of the day, better health creates better leadership, better health creates better relationships, and better health creates a better legacy. All of it is tied up to your health, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So here's my call to action for you. What is the identity that you're willing to take on? And once you have that identity, once you know who you're deciding to become, from there, what are the actions that you're willing to do? And pick one thing, whether that's you're going to train a specific amount of times a week, whether that you are going to avoid fast food, whether that means you're going to drink half of your body weight in ounces of water every day. Pick one or two things to hang your hat on and to be consistent on, and start to notice how you start to feel better. And when you feel better, how you notice you perform better at work and at home. I want you to lead yourself first and start with your health. Think of your body as your leadership instrument, and I want you to build it intentionally. Do it on purpose. Do it with intention. Do it because you understand it matters and it's directly correlated to who you are. I appreciate your time. And what we're going to do in the next podcast episode is we're going to start actually putting together frameworks that's going to allow you to apply health to your life, even as schedules are shifting, things are getting busier, or even when things are starting to open up. And maybe you want to build more clarity around where you currently are in your health. I've created a quiz that is designed to help you understand exactly that. It takes 90 seconds, and from there, you're going to understand exactly where your energy is, exactly where your capacity is at, and then I will give you an actionable game plan on where you are, where you can go, and how to actually fix it in real time. If you're interested in taking the quiz, DM me on Instagram at Alvey Thompson, DM me quiz, and I will send that quiz over for you. And once you take the quiz, I will create a custom blueprint just for you to allow you to understand where you're at, where you want to go, and ultimately how you can get there in an efficient way that matches your life as a busy, high-performing professional. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, with a colleague, with someone who needs to hear this message. I appreciate your time. Stay dynamic, my friend. You can too.